Meine sehr geehrten Damen und Herren, liebe
Ladies and gentlemen, dear shareholders, I'm Hans-Holger Albrecht. I'm the chairman of the supervisory board of Scout24 AG, and with that, the chair of today's meeting. On behalf of the supervisory board and the board, I would like to welcome you to Munich and would like to open the annual meeting of Scout24 AG. I also would like to welcome our guests and everyone who is here present and will listen to our presentations by Tobias Hartmann and the FCO Dirk Schmelzer, especially those who follow via the internet. Please, I would like to ask for your understanding that not everything is transmitted via the internet. Before I say a few words on the development of the Scout24, I would like to cover the formal things. To my left, there's Professor Michael Arnold from as a legal consultant. Further towards the left, this is Notary Public Tilman Götte, who will take down the minutes. And then there is the Notary Assessor, Dr. Alexander Wagner, who is to my right at the report table. He supports Notary Public Dr. Götte and is available for explanations. The supervisory board is all determined Professor Arnold as a proxy. He will take over in case I am not able to take the chair here all the time. The members of the board are here. To my right, it's Tobias Hartmann, then Dr. Dirk Schmelzer, our CFO, then further towards the right, the other members of the supervisory of the board, Dr. Thomas Schröter and Ralf Weitz as Chief Product Officer and Chief Commercial Officer for the operational business. The changes of the board will be covered soon. Mr. Schwarzenegger and Mr. Roche are not able to come here today from the supervisory board. The other members of the supervisory board are there. This is Ms. Chiara Smith and Dr. Liane Solomon, who are to my left next to the Notary Public Götte. Michael Zahn has resigned from his office and does not participate in the meeting anymore. The other resignments that are now come into force with today and the candidates will be discussed very soon. Today's meeting was published in the Federal Gazette on the 19th of July 2019, according to form and date, and this was then also sent to the media for EU distribution. Copies are available at the reporting desk. And they also will be part of the minutes. Then the agenda was also publicized based on the share corporation law, either directly communicated or via the depot banks. Also, it was pointed out that there is the possibility of exercising voting right via proxy. And besides that, all the documents are also available at the reporting table. They are also available via the website since the call of the general meeting. The SBB Fund Limited has announced its own voting proposal, which arrived on time, and I also made a statement on that, which is all available via the internet. With that, it is to propose to have Christoph Band from Zurich to have him as part of the supervisory board elected. I will cover this later on and will also offer the possibility that the candidates present themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, for your tickets, you received a voting sheet. Should you have several tickets, then you have also received several voting sheets. Please make sure that you exchange all your tickets into voting sheets. If this is not the case, then please report to the reception. If you want to leave the meeting, you can also authorize someone else to exercise your voting right. Please report to our employees at reception, who will then explain to you the procedure. The presence area is this room. This is QV1, and also the hall and the toilets, but the loudspeakers are also transmitted into this room here and not into the entrance hall and the toilets. Also, voting rights can be exercised only here in this room with the name Cuvée 1. Unfortunately, it is not possible to have this transmitted into the entrance area, because then someone else could hear it, third parties could hear that. But when we come to the voting procedure, then I would like to ask the scrutineers to just inform the shareholders and the proxies that are outside. The list of the participants is drafted, and then I will announce the result. And this is then also available at the reporting desk. And I also will pass it on to Dr. Gutter. Changes in the list of participants will be put down. Copies of these changes will also be available at the reporting desk. If you want to enter into discussion, then I would like to ask you to report to the reporting desk. Please state your name and the number of your voting sheets. If you want to file a proposal, then I would like to ask you to announce this in writing, or just ask the employees at a reporting table to put that down. With that, we can make sure that the application is put down properly. I would like to point out that you can also, you have to also apply for participation in discussion orally. Then in the discussion, I would like to ask you to come, or those who want to comment, to come to the lectern. I would like to point out that the language is exclusively German. Other languages are not allowed. If you are not able to do this in German, then I would like to ask you to have a translator with you. We also offer you a translation of everything today into English. Please use one of the headsets that are available here in the room if you haven't done it yet. Today's meeting won't be stenographed, but the board will be supported by stenographers with respect to questions answered. And with that, there will be a short time recording which then will be deleted. This meeting will also not be videotaped. The microphones are only for the transmission of the tone to the back office in this room. Any pictures by camera or mobile phone and recordings also are not allowed. Please mute your phones or switch them off. And I would like to point out too that smoking in the presence area is not allowed. Ladies and gentlemen, now let me come to the report of the supervisory board. Let me say a few words on the last 12 to 14 months. Since that time, a lot has happened. We have reached a lot. I would like to start with June 2018. The entering of the MDAX. This was a very important milestone already during the IPO in 2015. This was a declared goal. The criteria that are requested by Deutsche Börse with respect to market capitalization were fulfilled in January 2016. In July 2018, turnover reached this threshold. Since that time, we belong to the 80, and after reform of indices, we are part of the 90 largest German companies that are listed. Shortly after, I then became a member of the supervisory board, and then I became the chair of the supervisory board. This is a great honor for me and a very important task which I took on with pleasure. Since that, I've been supporting our company on its growth path to generate sustainable values for all Scout24 shareholders, from the listings platform to the marketplace, and from there to the network. This was our basic principle. In July 2018, we made progress. We acquired Finanzcheck.de. This is one of the most important platforms for financing, consumer financing in Germany. With that, we have additional digital services that go beyond transactions. With that, we can prolong the so-called consumer journey. As you might know, there were changes in the board of the company. In August last year, Greg Ellis resigned. At an early stage, a new member of the board, we were able to acquire Tobias Hartmann. He started in November 2018. Tobias brings about more than 20 years of management experience and a lot of knowledge in digital and e-commerce business. Before Scout24, he worked for private and listed companies in Europe and in the US. His strategic instinct, his practical approach, and his fresh ideas impressed us very much, and we are very happy that we are able to just go this long-term growth process together with him. In December 2018, we decided to accept Dr. Thomas Schroeter as Chief Product Officer and Ralph Weitz as Chief Commercial Officer into the board. They both have broad experience in the sector and also with respect to leadership, and we really contributed to Scout24's success. In the operational side, the political debate with respect to the buyer principle was very important. This is important with respect to buying and selling. This means that the brokers are being paid by those who order the service. So the discussion about the buyer principle has developed and is not finalized. And then there were rumors that private equity companies intend to take over Scout24. And then there was information that Hellman and Friedman and Blackstone had a takeover offer. The board and the supervisory board said that this was not an acceptable price. Sometime later, in February, then they decided to support an offer of 46 euros per share. This same group then offered a premium on the unaffected share price in December 2018. That time, we regarded this as an attractive offer, which could have realized a very good profits. In March, then this procedure failed and the situation changed because the mood increased on capital markets, and then there was a better evaluation of the analysts with respect to online classified sector. And then also the buyer principle went into the background. And with that, then this takeover price lost attractiveness. Independent of the takeover offer, we were able to have record results. The turnover increased by 12.5% and EBITDA by 15.3%. These are figures that really prove a very profitable growth course. In June 2019, Dr. Dirk Schmelzer came as FCO. He has a good financial know-how and long-term expertise with respect to digital business models and investor relations. And I'm really positive that with the new team, that we will have can create additional value and sustainable value for you shareholders. And this is also reflected in our strategic roadmap, which will be covered by Matthias. And this team is also responsible for the great financial results in the first 6 months of 2019. There was a major profit increase of 20% compared to our competitors. This is a great success for Scout24, and adjusted there's still 14% growth. What is very important is the development of AutoScout24, which increased by 700 base points compared to last year. As I said, I'm really impressed by the dynamism of our company, of our group. For the great development of Scout24, I would like to thank the members of the board and all the employees on behalf of the supervisory board.
I would also like to thank the two former members of the board, Greg Ellis and Christian Gysi, also on behalf of the entire supervisory board. So a big thank you to them as well for all their contributions to our company's development. Since the last annual general meeting, we've also had changes to the staffing of the supervisory board with effect as of the 1st July 2019. Michael Zahn, and with effect as of the end of today's annual general meeting, Dr. Liliana Solomon and David Roche have resigned from the supervisory board. I would again like to use this opportunity to thank all three members of the supervisory board for the excellent contributions and the wonderful cooperation for the benefit of the further development of our company. If a supervisory board member leaves the supervisory board before the end of his or her term of office, according to section 9, subsection 4, sentence 1, a substitute member has to be elected for the remainder of the term of office. All of the members who are resigning as of today were elected until the end of the term of office, until the end of the meeting that would have adopted the balance sheet for 2019. Therefore, we propose Mr. Hedlund, André Schwenlein and Frank Lutz to be elected as members of the board until the end of the annual general meeting that adopts a resolution on the balance sheet for 2019. All three candidates are present here today, and they would also like to use the opportunity to present themselves to you, and we'll come back to that shortly. As I've already mentioned, Pelham SPV indicated before this annual general meeting that they would like to nominate Mr. Christoph Brandt from Zurich, a member of the board of TAM Media AG, instead of one of the candidates nominated by the supervisory board for position on the supervisory board. I would now like to use this opportunity to give Mr. Brandt the opportunity to introduce himself briefly. Mr. Brandt, the floor is yours. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you, first of all, for giving me an opportunity to present myself and to introduce myself. I'm 50 years old. I have been essentially working in high technology for 25 years, i.e. my entire career, especially internet and online services. I've been a CEO for 10 years. I've also been a member of various administrative and supervisory boards as a shareholders representative, both in listed companies and in startups and in very mature companies as well. With regard to the discussion on Scout, my last 7 years are particularly relevant, where I worked at TAM Media in charge of market platforms. TAM Media is the leading media company in Switzerland. 6 years ago, basically the entire EBITDA of the company was generated through print products and printed newspapers and journals. We've reached 75% EBITDA last year, the lion's share from the division that was set up in 2012 when I joined the company. Just to put this in perspective, last year we had a turnover of around 250 million Swiss francs in turnover. From shareholdings, 100 million in EBITDA. And please remember that the Swiss market is 10 times smaller than the German market, just to put this in perspective. So you would have to multiply that accordingly to see what that would mean in terms of Germany. We operate in all fields, cars, real estate, jobs, and we are also the owner of the biggest generalist, which is similar to eBay small ads, and the biggest horizontal market platform in Switzerland, which could perhaps be compared to eBay on a global scale. And we own at least 50% to up to 100% in these companies, and I'm the chairman of the board, and in case of joint ventures we share responsibility with joint venture partners. I have no doubt that the strategic questions that we are dealing with are also very relevant for Scout Group. Just to give you a few examples with regard to where we stand along the range between a pure real estate agent and a party that joins in the transaction chain, or to differentiate us from horizontal market platforms. And last not least, also the question of synergetic effects that can be generated between different divisions, or whether such should be generated. These are all difficult questions, and there's certainly no general truth with regard to these, and it's also very market specific. If you elect me to the supervisory board, I would like to openly state what my priorities are. First of all, I am an independent representative. I am not mandated by any shareholder for that position. My priorities would be actively supporting the management and the supervisory board to find answers that are in line with Scout's requirements for these strategic questions, and these might differ from case to case. And secondly, I'd like to help to enable Scout to take decisions that are important and the right answers for the long-term success of Scout. And then I would like to ask the supervisory board to constructively engage in dialogue with the shareholders, of course, in line with the legal requirements and good corporate governance. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much, Mr. Brandt. I'd now like to address the 3 candidates nominated by the Supervisory Board today in order to reinforce the ranks of the Supervisory Board. These are Matthias Hedlund, the Chairman of Etravelli, André Schwemmlein, the Managing Director and Founder of Flix Mobility, and then Frank Lutz, the Chairman of the Board of CRX Markets. All 3 of them are long-standing entrepreneurs and renowned top managers, and I'm sure that each and every one of them on his own, as well as in cooperation with the supervisory board, could of course make important contributions of Scout24 to the leading European platform. Why am I convinced that this is the case? With the support of a renowned HR consultancy, the supervisory board carried out a comprehensive process to identify the choose most suitable candidates. Initially, we developed a requirements profile with a view to which competences are particularly required for Scout24 AG as one of the leading European companies in this field. Now, afterwards, we looked at a number of potential candidates, also under consideration of our competence profile with regard to the staffing of the overall board. We selected the most suitable candidates, and we placed a special emphasis on supplementing the skills, competences, and qualifications that we already have on the supervisory board as best as possible, which is why we looked at candidates that have experience in managing the operations of an international company in a competitive environment, and at the same time also have comprehensive expertise in increasing the value of fast-growing innovative companies. And we are convinced that with Mr. Hedlund, Schwemmlein and Lutz, we have found the best possible candidates to support our market and industry-specific expertise to strengthen the corporate governance of our company. Matthias Hedlund, started at Etravelli, a company thanks to a new strategy based on an internationalization and growth strategy that led to a quintupling of the EBITDA in a very competitive international environment. With a view to the planned increase in turnover of Scout24 Group and the efficiency increases envisaged in the roadmap, he can make you can certainly make an important contribution to that. Mr. Schwemmlein, in his capacity as the chairman of the board of the European market leader for for coach services, he developed the company from a startup to a corporate platform that now operates in 28 countries and has more than 100 million customers. And this was generated both through organic growth and through acquisitions. If he's elected as a member of the board, he will make a significant contribution to developing Scout24 for developing Scout24 into the leading network in the market. Mr. Lutz has more than 25 years of experience in finance and corporate capital. He's worked at some of the biggest German companies. I'm firmly convinced that he would be a big asset with regard to the various efficiency initiatives of Scout24 if he becomes a member of the supervisory board. And he will also support us with regard to subjects of financing and capital structure topics that we're looking at. Together with Frank, we want to strengthen our position in the MDAX. All three candidates nominated by the supervisory board are independent. There are no personal or business relationships with shareholders, corporate boards or bodies or affiliated companies of Scout24 AG. As has already been mentioned, our candidates would also like the opportunity to present themselves to you. Mr. Hedlund will start off. He's a Swedish national, and he will still make a statement in German in as far as possible.
It's a language I do not master, so please bear with me. Fortunately, the supervisory board work is conducted in English. Ich bin CEO der E-Travelli-Gruppe, welche das
I'm the CEO of the leading online traveling agency in Europe, and it's owned by CVC Capital Porter. We were launched in Sweden and now offer our services in 70 countries worldwide. And we now are expanding in Northern America, Australia. We generate the highest margins in the industry, and this is thanks to a well-thought-out strategy that we've consistently applied through unit economics, market-driven technology, and an improved data usage, as well as automatic learning in pricing. We've been able to offer a number of options at lower prices than our competitors. I'm very pleased that today I have the opportunity to address you, and I would be pleased to support the company with regard to strategic questions and challenges. Of course, the benchmark as regards in fields such as pricing, data usage, and the commercial usage of technology can be raised even further. Prior to my current position, I had executive positions at leading companies, in companies such as online gaming, online directories, and I also had positions in supervisory boards in the field of online presence, translation services, and TV productions. As I've already said, I would be pleased to be able to make a contribution to the success of Scout24. Thank you. Thank you very much for that statement, Mr. Hedlund, and thank you very much for demonstrating your excellent German skills here today. Thank you very much. Well done. And I'd now like to hand over to Mr. Schwemmlein. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. My name is André Schwemmlein. I'm the founder and CEO of Flix Mobility GmbH. I'm very pleased that the supervisory board nominated me as a potential member of the supervisory board. Flix Mobility is a young mobility provider that we have operated under the brand of Flixbus to build the biggest long-distance bus connection service in the world. We will expand that under the Flixtrain brand that will also roll out at a European level shortly. Many of you will have seen one of our green buses or green trains. Do you know how many of these are owned by our company? None. We are not a transport company. We are a mobility platform which uses technology to bring together buses, trains, and customers and basically matches the demand and supply on our platform as well as the market. We define the product, the timetables. We sell every one of the millions of tickets and we control overall operations. So at the end of the day, we're a combination of technology startup and internet company. The company was set up by myself and two friends in 2012. As the CEO, I'm in charge of the entire operations, global expansion in Europe, into the USA, and in future also into Southern America and Asia, as well as all commercial functions. In the briefest time span, we have evolved into a clear European market leader within strong competition. We are present in 28 European countries as well as the USA. Today, we have transported more than 150 million passengers, and we are growing at enormous speed. We've been able to prevail over numerous startups as well as international large-scale corporations, and we've even taken over some of our competitors in European countries and fully integrated these. We are a European technology company that aims at global market leadership and will reach global market leadership in our market niche, and this is based on digitalization and using a very traditional means of transport. We do that through technology innovations such as the Flixbus app, as well as high investments into machine learning and artificial intelligence. As you can see, my company certainly has parallels to Scout24, which is why I would like to contribute my experience gathered through the establishment of an innovative and highly competitive company and support the company in this way. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your statement, Mr. Schwemmlein, and on that note, I'd like to hand over to Mr. Lutz. Thank you very much, Mr. Albrecht. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all of you. I'm pleased to be able to be here this morning to introduce myself to you. My name is Frank Lutz. I'm the CEO of CAX Markets AG. CAX Markets AG is a comparatively young fintech company here in Munich. We operate a fully independent electronic market platform and offer our customers in the B2B segment asset-based working capital financing, which means that we have companies whose suppliers and banks, we bring companies together with their suppliers and banks and capital providers to finance their capital needs through state-of-the-art technologies, process and data security, as well as the integration with our customers' software systems. We've been able to ensure complete process automation for all participants involved in the process. I was born in Stuttgart in 1968. I studied economics and business management in Switzerland and then moved to investment banking at Goldman Sachs and Deutsche Bank. And I worked both in the USA and in the United Kingdom for a number of years. After in total 12 years in investment banking, I moved to Munich to MAN, a DAX-listed group, and became the head of finance of MAN in 2009. That was in the midst of the financial crisis, and you will remember that that was not an easy time. Because of the restructuring measures that were necessary at the time, we still managed to get the company back on track and to regain the capital markets' confidence. After a short detour to LD Süd, also as the member of the executive board in charge of finance, I then from 2014 to 2017 worked as the head of finance of Covestro AG. Covestro AG is the former chemicals and plastics department of Bayer AG, which was spun off and is also a listed company. So that was my task, and it ended upon the company's inclusion in the MDAX. Concurrently with my positions on various management boards, I was also a member of various supervisory boards. At present, I'm a supervisory board member of Bilfinger SE and a member of the advisory board of a family-run operation in Rosenheim, so I would still have sufficient time available to carefully discharge my tasks as a member of the supervisory board of Scout24 AG. All the skills and knowledge and experience I've gathered on the boards of internationally operating companies, especially in the field of finances, M&A, capital markets, and digital market platforms, is something that I would also like to contribute to the work of the supervisory board of Scout24 in order to make my contribution to ensuring that the successful growth path can be continued and to ensure that record results can be achieved also in the future. And I'd like to ask for your support and confidence. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your presentation, Mr. Lutz. Mr. Hedlund, Lutz, and Schremlein declared that in case of their election, they are willing to accept their positions in the supervisory board. Besides the communication of memberships that were already mentioned in the invitation, there are no other memberships in any other committees or similar. Dear Mr. Brandt, I would like to ask you whether, besides the listing that was provided by SPA, whether you are a member of any other supervisory boards or any other control committees? No. Thank you, Mr. Brandt. Then let me go on to the further task of the supervisory board, the annual statement, the group statement, and the summarized executive summary for 2018 have been approved by the auditor. Then the auditor also stipulated that the board has executed an appropriate control and information system, which is suitable for the continuation of the recognition of any dangers that might arise for the group. And the reports were all available. The result of the audit of the financial statement, and including the group statement and executive summary by KPMG. The supervisory board approved this after own audits based on the auditing activity. There were no objections. That is why the supervisory board approved the report, and with that, it's valid based on the Stock Corporation Act, Article 172. And the supervisory board also agreed on the results of the auditor, and there were no objections to that. With that, also from this point, the closing is approved. The supervisory board also asked KPMG to ask another special audit of the special report. This refers to the corporate social responsibility guideline of the EU. The goal of the guideline and the report is to have a high transparency for ecological and social aspects in company and to increase this transparency in the EU. The supervisory board, taking into account the results of KPMG, the supervisory board did not have any objections to this report either. Any further details you will find in the written report of the supervisory board, which is available on pages 11 to 19 in the annual business report. This is also available on the internet website and also are available on the reporting disk. And the supervisory board fulfilled the tasks for 2018 in full. In the business year 2018, there were 4 meetings of the supervisory board and several additional meetings and telephone conferences. The board informed the supervisory board in depth, orally and in writing about all the important questions on strategy, planning, business development, risk assessment and risk development, risk management, and the compliance. And with that, it fully satisfied its requirements with respect to information. The supervisory board and its committees were informed and were included in all important decisions in the supervisory board, me, myself, and Dr. Götz, and also the heads of the committees discussed everything with orderly with respect to strategy, business development, risk situation, risk management, corporate governance, and compliance. And then also the board approached us, me and Stefan Götz, informed us with respect to important things that are important for the management of the company and further development. And then the other members were informed in the following meeting. Then the supervisory board also dealt with the general business development of Scout24. And then also the supervisory board received information about the work of the committees, the financial outlook for the year 2018 and 2019 were discussed, and the development of all the business segments were discussed. The supervisory board and the board discussed the financial situation of Scout24 and discussed the development of the business. And also the supervisory board discussed the budget for 2019. There were no conflicts of interest in 2018. The supervisory board has so far formed 2 committees, executive committees for nomination and audit committee. The executive committee met once in 2018, and the other committee met in 3 meetings and 3 telephone conferences. With respect to more in-depth information on the meetings, here I would like to point out page 15 to 17 of the business report. The supervisory board also drafted the annual declaration on the corporate government law, and everything can be read there. This declaration is also published on the website of the company. more information on the corporate governance and with respect to ideas and further information you'll find in our report, which is available on the website of our company. Also, please refer to pages 11 to 19 of the business report for more information. Ladies and gentlemen, the basics of the remuneration system were explained in the meeting in 2016. In March 2018, the supervisory board introduced for the board introduced a new instrument, which is the long-term incentive program 2018. The LTIP 2018 supports the binding to the group. It honors the increase of profitability and the turnover and development of the shares. The participants receive virtual shares, and after certain qualifying periods, this is then paid out according to certain parameters. This is stipulated in LTIP in 2018. All members of the board participate in LTIP 2018. Further details can be read on pages 184 to 185 of the business report, and then please also refer to pages 192 to 207 on the remuneration of the report. Let me mention a last point. The supervisory board decided in June 2019 to redesign its committees. The executive committee should also work as an M&A strategic committee and have discussions on that. I suggest that Mr. Hedlund and Schwemmlein should be members. In case of their election, they should be members in the executive committee. And besides that, there is also an independent remuneration committee in the supervisory board. And I would like to suggest that Kiara Smith and also Mr. Hedlund and Schwemmlein, in case of their election that way, become members of this committee, and Ms. Smith should be the chair. Dr. Solomon will resign today, and that is why I would like to suggest Mr. Schwarzenbauer and, in case of election, Mr. Lutz to become members of the audit committee. And I also would like to have Mr. Lutz I would like to propose Mr. Lutz as his chair of this audit committee. Due to the changes in corporation law and with respect to corporate governments, we already started to adapt things to current corporate governance standards, and we also want to implement the new standards of the German corporate governance stipulations. Looking at what we have reached in the past 12 to 14 months, and when we look at the board, and when we look at the highly motivated employees of Scout24, then also the newly formulated strategic roadmap, then I can formulate what the board said on the semi-annual results. We are better than ever. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention so far. Now we go on to the report of the board. First of all, Tobias Hartmann, and then our CFO, Dirk Schmetzer, will present on this. Dear Tobias, yours is the floor. Thank you very much, Hans-Holger. Welcome to everyone, also from my side. Before I cover the business and the strategy of Scout24, I would like to present my colleagues Dirk Schmelter, Ralf Weitz, and Thomas Schröter. One of my first actions when I started in this position to just have a good team out of the members of the board. A team is the right word here, because together we want to lead Scout24 into future, and together we stand for growth and increase of value. Hans Holger already said something about the development of Dirk. Then he will also shortly present our financial figures. Thomas and Ralph already before their nomination, they worked on the growth of ImmobilienScout24, AutoScout24, and Consumer Consumer Services. Both of them are good managers and have experience in a digital sphere, and they have the right properties to further write the success story of Scout24. I'm really happy to work with the team. Where do we come from? Where do we want to go? Hans Holger gave you an overview of the past 1.5 years. I would like to go a bit further, look back at the point of our IPO. We were a listings portal with strong positioning in core countries and markets, a highly innovative and profitable digital enterprise founded in Germany. Last year, we had the motto for 20 years, and tomorrow we celebrated our 20-year anniversary. This is the period that we have been accompanying our users and buyers and sellers, and with that we can really call ourselves market experts. At the same time, we have built a sustainable basis of trust with our users, customers, and partners. From the listings portals, ImmobilienScout and AutoScout, two digital marketplaces have developed with additional services in the property and car transactions area. Under the model of marketplace to market network, we want to make the market more transparent. With that, we use our high technology and data competency. The goal is to have the whole transaction, including all marginal areas, to have them displayed online. And with that, we want to become the experts with respect to living and mobility. I've just mentioned our data competency. Every contact point along property or auto transaction leads to more relevant data. It's a treasure that we can use to offer additional products to our users and customers. These could be additional services or background information. Later on, I will give you some specific examples for this. In this circle, our product box will be expanded and improved because our product developers test new innovations continuously. With that, we have competitive advantage, and then we will benefit from additional turnover and profits. And you shareholders, you will have a long-term growth of your share price. Because the goal for the future will be, we want to make ImmobilienScout24 and AutoScout24, we want to make them a leading market network in the respective markets. To reach this goal and full force, we've made our homework. First of all, we checked our internal processes. This comprised a marketing audit, the first group-wide competency analysis, and also an analysis of the operational efficiency. Then secondly, strengthening of our boards with nomination of Thomas and Ralph and Dirk as CFO. We defined the responsibilities clearly and really put down our own target corridor as a team. Then number 3, regular contact with our investors. Since we started in our positions, I asked for the feedback from our investors, and we've been doing it even more with Dirk. Then number 4, definition of our roadmap. With the strategic roadmap which was published on 19th of July, there are the pillars for our further strategy. That means we want to have a two-column, efficiency structure with efficiency and agility. The 2 core fields, ImmobilienScout24 and AutoScout24, will be strengthened with that. Then at the same time, we want to optimize the cost basis. We have an additional potential in order to improve the EBITDA margin by 200 to 300 base points until 2021. I would like to make clear again that our market position has become stronger than ever. ImmobilienScout24 is a clear market leader with listings, property listings in Germany. AutoScout24 is a leading European platform for vehicle listings. With our strategic roadmap, we want more. Already today, we have 3 million of active listings, and with that, we attract a large number of users. And the average visits was 213 million for both platforms in 2018. This is 9% more than the previous year. And we target with our mobiles first strategy, we aim at a mobile user group. 8 out of 10 users use our offers via mobile devices. Our apps are being downloaded more than 300,000 times a month. Not only our user numbers, our user figures are on a record level. As already mentioned, in the first 6 months of this year, we were able to have the greatest growth since establishment of Scout24.
And the EBITDA margin was 57%. That certainly is impressive in terms of results and statistics. Now, how do we divide our two core brands? Let's take a closer look at this. Let's look at ImmobilienScout24. As the market leader, we see ourselves as the most important partner for real estate agents. We want to offer them in both commercial and residential sectors the best possible offers, the best possible solutions are to be made available to those real estate agents because their success is our success. Based on this strategy, we were able to consistently expand the number of our partnerships. Since mid-2017, we had we've generated more than 1,700 new residential real estate partners. That is a 13% increase. At the currently high level that we've reached, the growth has slowed down a little. Nonetheless, the number of the residential partners has increased by 4% to 14,850. The number of commercial real estate partners, so the property developers and commercial real estate agents, increased by 1% to 2,808 during the same period. Again, during the same period, the number of listings in our platform increased compared to our strongest competitor to 1.8 times the number there. So more listings also means more traffic on our platform. The average number of visits to the ImmobilienScout24 website per month in the first half 2019 was 96 million. That's 9% more than in the previous year. Before or for the first half of the year. At the same time, access via mobile devices increased by 16%. 529 minutes is the average amount of time a visitor spends on the ImmobilienScout24 website. That's 3 times more than they spend at our next biggest competitor. Now, those numbers show that both for our real estate agent partners as well as for our users, we have become the most important real estate platform. As I've mentioned, in the framework of our strategic roadmap, we want to create additional value. That also means that we want to fully utilize the monetization potential of our customers. And in order to do that with a clear conscience, we need to offer them additional value. And those value-added services and products are certainly a perfect example of this. In the second quarter of 2019, the turnover generated from those via products increased by 17% compared to the same quarter in 2017. The percentage share of those via turnover in the entire ImmoScout24 products remains stable at 31.5%. Another parameter that testifies to our successful product activities is the development of the ARPU. What we refer to as ARPUs is the average revenue per real estate agent partner per month. In the first half of the year 2019, this ARPU of our residential real estate partners rose to 659 euros. That is around 5% more than in the previous year. The ARPU of our business partners rose by as much as 13% compared to 2018. We believe that ImmobilienScout24 will play an outstanding role within the German residential sector. And with a view to our network strategy, we are establishing contacts with more and more participants in real estate transactions. We establish those contacts, we link contacts at the right point in time with the right contents. Our main target groups remain, however, first of all, our users, in other words, those who are looking for a property. Secondly, the owners of real estate properties, potential offers, sellers, and thirdly, real estate agents. All 3 of these groups are connected to our platform using an outstanding user experience as well as comprehensive additional and support services. Now, let me outline a product innovation for each of these target groups. I'd like to start with the premium membership. Our profound understanding of the market is something that I've already mentioned in the first part of my presentation, and it enables us to provide background information and additional support in order to improve and optimize user experience overall. Our premium membership does exactly that. Finding a rented apartment in Germany in the big cities is really torture right now. Here in Munich, we all know about that, myself included. Most of the inquiries are not even answered because of the high demand for apartments. On the other hand, landlords complain that they receive a flood of applicants that does not fulfill their requirements. Our premium membership means that the person looking for an apartment increases their opportunities of finding a suitable place. He or she can use our applicants folder and they get an early insight into real estate offer. Another advantage is an immediate approval of the deposit, and that in turn enables the landlord to compare applicants better. By specifying certain criteria from the outset, the number of applicants is reduced sensibly. As a market leader in a demanding market, we want to assume responsibility, and our premium membership model creates efficiency and concurrently increases the opportunity for applicants to actually find an apartment. Our home seller hub is addressed to owners who are also potential sellers of real estate properties. This offer, which has been on the market since April, stands for our vision of a fully networked and interconnected market platform. We know that 8% of our users are real estate owners thinking about selling their property within the next 12 months. That's around 1.1 million individual visits per month. These potential sellers are targetedly forward forwarded to our home seller hub, which provides them with relevant background information and additional market transparency as a result. Now, if these potential sellers then decide at some point in time to go forward with the transaction, we support them during the selling project. We introduce them to local real estate agents, offer support and advice services, and might even set them up with a suitable potential buyer. Now, all of that shows that we have recognized what our customers need in this respect. Since the product launch in April, we've seen a strong increase in the number of visits with a plus of more than 50%. Moreover, via our home seller hub, we have generated more than 130,000 registrations of sellers. Now, two more examples for new value-added services that our real estate agent partners can book: Top List All and Image Boost. And both of these products follow a simple principle. The more real estate properties an agent offers, the more attention he or she will get. And the Top List All function ensures that all the offers in the top range of our via ads are actually listed. This boosts the listing by around 36 positions for the respective real estate agents. That leads to 60% more inquiries from potential buyers compared to the standard listing membership. During the 3 months from May to July, Top List All has improved to our best membership product. In 51% of all contract renewals, this option was selected. The Image Boost products works as follows. The more via product the real estate agent books, the more we will market that real estate agent to potential sellers on site. This helps the real estate agent in acquiring new properties and building his or her brand. The Image Boost function creates a win-win-win situation. So real estate sellers optimize their sales result, i.e. a higher selling price with lower time requirement. Real estate agents get more attention, and Immobilien Scout generates more inquiries and as a result increases turnover. If we look at our second core brand, AutoScout24, where do we stand in that respect? AutoScout24 Group operates a leading digital automobile market platform. In Europe, almost 50% of our AutoScout24 sales are generated abroad. In all of our 5 core markets, we have leading market positions. In Germany, we are a strong number 2. In Italy, the Netherlands, Belgium, and Austria, we're the clear market leader, followed by competitors with a big distance compared to the second biggest market operator. We have a huge stock of listings. In the first quarter, in the first half of the year, it was 2.5 million. As a result, we bring more and more customers to our platforms. In the first half of the year 2019, the turnover of AutoScout24 without consolidation effects rose by a record-breaking 20%. Now, how has the German business developed in the first half of the year 2019? The number of dealer partners has declined by 16%. This has to do with the fact that we have consciously deselected smaller partners because we wanted partners to have at least one listing active on our platform per month. Otherwise, they are irrelevant for our users. Moreover, we sold Scout24. The number of listings at the end of June 2019 was at minus 0.4%, only slightly below the previous year. The distance to mobile.de, however, remains stable, which means that the slight decline in the number of listings is in line with the general market trend. As regards demand, however, we see increasing growth, and this is certainly very positive and also an indication of a working strategy. The number of sessions, i.e. the average number of visits per month, increased by 4 million or 8%. Through additional investment into the app, we have increased the number of visits via mobile devices by 16% as against the previous year. In summary, we can say that we remain the strongest, second biggest provider in the German automobile listings market. On our European core markets, Italy, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Austria, we were able to defend our position as the strongest provider on the market with market shares that were either stable or even increased. Our gain over the second biggest providers in those markets is still at least 50% more listings in those core markets. Even beyond Germany, the number of dealer partners has also declined slightly by 1.3%. This has to do with the sale of Scout24. The number of ads by dealers increased by 4.3% in a stable or slightly declining market. As in Germany, we've also seen an increase of 9% in the number of visits. Moreover, the share of mobile access to our platform increased to more than 80%. In AutoScout24, we also use our operating strength to realize additional monetization potential. In the first half year of 2019, we generated record growth rates in the ARPUs, in the average monthly revenue per trader, per dealer. Both in Germany and in the European core markets, it rose to above 300 euros. The share of the MIA products, the sale in products with additional value, increased from 16% to 17.8% in the second quarter of this year. Two other innovative products were also launched, and I'd like to introduce these to you. The first one refers to car sales, and the other refers to purchasing a car. In selling a car, speed often plays an important role. That's why we've developed the direct sales product. This gives our users the opportunity to sell their car to a dealership online. The novelty for our dealership partners is that they can't only manage their stock via the Scout24 platform by not only selling cars through the platform, but also by buying cars via the platform. Direct sales has a simple and safe and secure structure in 4 steps. First of all, indicative online valuation via our platform. Secondly, neutral vehicle check nearby for the customer in this case. And then third step is that direct offers are submitted. And then fourthly, simple payment via app. So both the buyer and the seller benefit from a fast process, action-driven process with full transparency regarding the vehicle. Now, let's move from the sale to the purchase, namely to online purchases. Here too, we have a product with a maximum degree of digitalization in the sense of our market network strategy. By the way, we are the only German, perhaps even the first European platform to offer such a service. The example I'm showing you here is from Munich, and I would like to emphasize one aspect. First of all, the user can use a specific interface to choose by vehicle make and model. Secondly, we prioritize dealership partners for the benefit of an optimum user experience. Thirdly, all of the interactions are fully digitalized, including the conclusion of the contract and the payment. This makes it easier for the buyer. It makes it more transparent and also fairer. And because of the 2-week return option, we also offer a full customer focus. Now, as you could see, in terms of operations, we are stronger than we've ever been. We have been able to further expand our market leadership position. We are the platform for all users wishing to rent, buy or sell a real estate property or a vehicle. We have strong product teams and sales teams. We have high technology competence. Our data treasure is continuously evolving. We are highly innovative and keep implementing new product ideas. We drive digitalization along the transaction chain and are expanding our market networks. And in addition to that, we've also generated record-breaking financial results. However, we we want to do even more. And the new management board stands for more growth, more value, and that is why we have reviewed all of our internal processes thoroughly. And following that, we've defined a new strategic roadmap and clear responsibilities within the management team. The green check shows you that all of that has already been completed. What's important now is that we implement the strategic roadmap. We want to focus our organizational structure on our two core markets, ImmobilienScout24 and AutoScout24, in order to increase efficiency and agility. This in turn will lead to an improved cost base that will generate 200 to 300 base points in margin improvement by 2021 for us. We want to use liquidity that we have freed up in this way for the share repurchase program that's been announced. And moreover, we're also looking into various options for the further development of AutoScout24. As a result of all of these measures, we want to grow in terms of operations with lasting competitive advantages for Scout24 Group. Moreover, we also want to improve our financial results. And last not least, we want to generate value for you, our esteemed shareholders. Thank you very much for your attention. And on that note, I'd like to hand over to Dirk, who will now take you through the financial parameters. Thank you very much, Tobias. Ladies and gentlemen, dear shareholders, thank you very much from my side as well. I'd now like to take you through the very positive financial results for 2018. Our sales revenue grew by 12.5% to 532 million last year. Around 12 million thereof were due to Finanzcheck.de, which was consolidated in September 2018. Without Finanzcheck, sales within the group grew by around 10% during the year under review, and that is exactly in line with our forecast from 9 to 11% of organic growth. The EBITDA from current operations rose to 291 million by 15.3%. This corresponds to a margin of 54.8%. The organic EBITDA margin from current operations was 56.5%, and this in turn is exactly in line with the forecast bandwidth from 56 to 57.5%. The result for shares after taxes in 2018 was 164 million euros. This results in a result per share of €1.53, around 48% higher than in the year before. The adjusted result per share, which forms the basis for the dividend payment this year, was €1.58 per share, which is in turn in line with an increase of 12.5%. I would now like to take a look at our three business fields together with you. Let's start with ImmobilienScout24. The increase in sales by 6% was in the higher range of our expectation. This dynamic development was due to both the strong development of turnover in residential and also in the cooperation with business real estate partners. With regard to both lines, the number of real estate partners increased and the average monthly revenue per customer also increased, the ARPU. At the same time, the EBITDA from current operations increased in spite of ongoing investments in product, and it increased to 68%. Also, with regard to AutoScout, we were able to more than fulfill the targets we set ourselves. Turnover increased by 14%, both in Germany and in our European core markets. We were able to successfully implement price adjustments. The development of the EBITDA from current operations was made all the more impressive by this. It was increased by 27% to 97 million euros. This corresponds to a profitability margin of 54%. Within the consumer services segment, we were able to we were also able to more than fulfill our forecast, including the contribution by Finanzcheck.de, which was around 12 million euros. The division turnover increased by 29%, and in spite of the negative contribution by Finanzcheck.de, our EBITDA from current operations rose by 12%. With the acquisition of Finanzcheck, we are now also able to stay in contact with our users after the conclusion of a transaction. We can offer them tailor-made offers, and the integration within the Scout24 network has made good progress since the acquisition. As you will have seen from my statement so far, our two most important financial parameters, sales and EBITDA.
I went a bit too far, I'm sorry. I have to go one slide back. Slide 29. As you could see, our most important goal sizes are sales from retail and turnover. The bridge is being created via operating expenses. Let's look at business year 2018. Personnel expenses increased by 14.3%. It increased over proportionally to sales and number of employees. Reason are adjustments in the salary and also the introduction of a share option program for participation of our employees. Then the increase of marketing by 15% is due to Finanzcheck.de, because without Finanzcheck.de, this is only 6%. That represents the scalability of our business model and the capabilities of our products. Then our operational expenses, including IT, increased by 17.9%. This is on the one hand due to external service providers, for instance, with product development. And the main reason for increased IT costs, besides Finanzcheck.de, it's the increasing migration of software and data into the cloud. Now, let me go to the operational results. And in order to determine the EBITDA from the ordinary business, then we have to take out non-operational special effects. This was usually reorganization and also expensive with respect to buying Finanzcheck.de. And then also non-cash effects of any remuneration programs. The table you can see here takes you from the group revenues to the EBITDA. We are a financially strong company. High profitability of the Scout Group goes along with high financial powers and liquidity. The optimization of the capital structure is with that a very important column of our strategic roadmap. Tobias just has said a few words on that. In the business year 2018, the Scout Group had a cash flow of 207.5 million euros. This is an increase by 26.4% compared to the previous year. The cash flow from investment of minus 294.1 million euros results from payments for daughter company, and the major share is due to acquisition of the Finanzcheck. The cash flow from financing amounted to 88.3 million euros is due to the credit repayments and taking out new loans. This also includes paid interest to the amount of about 10 million euros and the paid dividends of about 60 million euros. All in all, we finished the business year with a cash flow of 58.4 million euros at the end of December 2018. That means we are financially strong. the balance sum of the company at the end of 2018. This was 2.5 billion euros, 324 million euros, or 15.1% more than the previous year. Long-term assets increased by 271 billion euros. The reason is the business value of 227 million euros, which is due to the acquisition of Finchat. Short-term assets increased by 54 million euros to 169 million euros. Short-term liabilities in the reporting period decreased to 148 million euros by 12 million euros due to repayments of bank liabilities. At the same time, long-term liabilities increased by 228 million euros to 1.18 billion euros due to long-term liabilities. And the equity capital increased from to 1.172 billion euros. With that, we have 48% of equity capital quota. Now, to the dividend, it is very important for us, ladies and gentlemen, to just have you participate in our development. With that, we will stick to the payment of 30 to 50%. Last year, we had dividend of 56 cents per share. This year, due to increased profitability, we will increase this by 14%. This is then 64 cents per share. You will then vote on this proposal today. And then we also use liquidity for the repurchase program of shares. The program is up to 300 million euros, and it corresponds to the decision of the meeting of 2017. The starting point is the 2nd of September 2019. Within the following 12 months, this will be then finalized. Let me now real quickly talk about the first 6 months of 2016, the numbers that were made public. Also this year, we can continue on our dynamic growth. We have a record growth increase of 20%. Then when that is adjusted and endorsed, then we still have a major growth. All areas contributed to this. Our focus is on the continuation of the profitable growth. From the first to the second quarter of this year, our EBITDA margin increased by 7 percentage points. All in all, the 6-month margin was 51.2%. Organically, that means without new acquisitions or sales or disinvestments, the record was 57.3%. Then the result of the share was then 52.1 million euros. That means 48 cents per share. This is 22.6% below the 62 cent for dividend payment. The adjusted result is important, and this could be increased for dividend payments. Before I come to our forecast for 2019, I would like to look at our share price development in the business year 2018. In the first 6 months of 2018, Scout24 share was able to increase the share price despite geopolitical conflicts and despite some trading conflicts. In July 2018, where we stood at 47 euros, then there was the MDAX inclusion, and then the inclusion of Finanzcheck.de and the discussion about buyer principle. Then there was a little low in October, and then the share recovered, and we ended the year with 40.16 euros. This is an increase of 17.9%. At the moment, Scout24 share stands at 53.25 euros, 32.6% above the closing of last year. Between March and mid-May, that the share price was more or less constant, and since June the price increased, and this shows clearly that really you put your trust into the further development of the share, and we won't disappoint you. We are convinced that with our 2 online marketplaces, we won't open up new potentials, and you can rest assured that we will create long-term values for you as our shareholders. Finally, I would like to remind you that we are on a very good way for 2019 to reach our forecast for 2019. The forecast was communicated in a business report, and then we also underlined this in our interim report. The growth rate will be in the 10th. That in the first 6 months, we have the adjusted growth of 13.6% due to further investments, especially for the growth of Finanzcheck. The EBITDA margin from ordinary business will be between 52 and 54%. Adjusted consolidation effects, there will be the margin of the lower one-digit percentage. And with that, we expect the scalability of our business models and of a low proportion of increase of our total costs. Before I pass back the word to the chair, I would like to say a few words on top 7. Now it is getting a bit more formally. Under 7A, where is the decision on the contract between Scout24 and Consumer First. This contract was concluded in July 2019, and the Consumer First GmbH agreed to the profit and loss pooling agreement, and with today's decision and with the entering in the commercial register, this will then enter into force. One content is the obligation of the Consumer First to pass on the profit from Consumer First to Scout24. And on the other hand, Scout is obliged to take over any losses from Consumer First. The contract is to terminate at the end of 2023. As the Consumer First is 100% daughter of Scout24, there are no other payments possible based on a Corporation Act to externals. In point 7.7b, there's the decision on the 2 other profit loss pooling agreements between ImmobilienScout GmbH and AutoScout24 with Scout24. These 2 companies have already agreed on the changes, and these changes will come into force only with the agreement of today's meeting, and then the entering into the commercial register of the of the daughter companies. It's again about the taking over of losses and the paying of interest and obligation to transfer profits. With that, the maturity of the losses and then on the payment of the profits. And besides that, the agreements will continue As these two companies are parts of Scout24, there are no third-party shareholders, and with that, there are no other payments to be made based on the Corporation Act necessary. And also, there is no external auditor necessary. And today we will be the voting will take place about these agreements. And with that, I would like to thank you for your attention, and I hope we will have an interesting forum meeting. Dear Tobias, dear Turk, thank you very much for your reports, ladies and gentlemen. At this point, I would like to see off those who have followed us via the internet.